Good morning, guys. It is Tuesday, and it means it's time to talk about Chapter 3 Technocracy Rising, the Trojan Horse of Global Transformation. Now, I made some notes on this because there's a few things that really stood out to me. Patrick got talking about the night when he and Anthony Sutton met. There was some kind of a convention going on at a hotel, and they were both trying to have breakfast. They ended up getting seated together and talking. Now, Anthony Sutton had been a professor, this is back in the 70s, professor at the Hoover Institute at Stanford College out in California. He got investigating the Trilateral Commission, what it was, what their agenda is. How far into the White House are they? When David Packard, important name to remember, because he is one of the co-founders of Hewlett Packard. Now, I also got some names here that I'm going to give you. That's going to appear over and over in this book. But first, after that chance encounter with the two gentlemen, they got talking. They were interested in the same things, but from different perspectives. They went on later and they wrote a book. Actually, two of them. It was, the Trilateral over Washington, volumes 1 and 2. Now, this went off. It blew up, as we say now. Except one problem. They got a little too close to the truth. And all of a sudden, there was no calls for interviews, no requests for radio shows, and they started calling around stores. All of a sudden, the book was out of stock. There was not really any plans to reprint it. They'd been blacklisted for that book. Now, the names I'm going to give you are key names to keep in your brain, file in your brain somewhere, because you're going to hear them a lot. David Rockefeller, as in the brother of Nelson Rockefeller, vice president to Gerald Ford. Zbigniew Brzezinski, father of Mika Brzezinski. Those two co-founded the Trilateral Commission in 1970. George H. Bush was a member. He was head of CIA, vice president to Reagan, against Reagan's wishes, or so they say, and he later became a one-term president. Now, Hadley Donovan, he was the editor-in-chief of Time magazine. He did an article about Jimmy Carter back when Jimmy Carter got elected. Now you gotta keep in mind, on the surface, Carter was this good old country boy from backwood Georgia. He was a peanut farmer, Navy vet. No. I mean, he was all that stuff, don't get me wrong. But he was also a member of the Trilateral Commission. Zbigniew Brzezinski mentored him, being Carter, and got him ready to run as president. Got him prepped and ready. Now, I remember when he ran for re-election. I'm going to take these off for a minute. I swear to God, this is the honest to God's truth, y'all. My dad was so impressed with his choices. What he thought was just a backwood Georgia peanut farmer or an actor that he didn't know had been the governor of California. Very connected. So he voted for Donald Duck and Goofy that year. I'm not kidding. I remember he came home and he said, well, given my choices, I voted for Donald Duck and Goofy. Because how the hell could they possibly do any worse? Moving on. That's just the way the old man rolled. Now, there are more names in this chapter 3. Now, let me give them to you. That you need to remember. They are William Jefferson Clinton, Trilateral. Hillary Clinton, Trilateral. And who are they friends with? And her 19th cousin, Donald Trump, a Freemason. And he's also very dear friends with people involved with Trilateral Commission, along with the Council of Foreign Relations. Alan Greenspan, ring a bell? He was the Federal Reserve Secretary Chairman from 1987 to 2006. Then there's Madeleine Albright, Warren Christopher, Cyrus Vance, Alexander Haig, Henry Kissinger. There's another one. Now, Richard Haas is the current president of the current Council of Foreign Relations. He was Trilateral Commission, where he came from. All through this book, I got a feeling that, yeah, you're going to keep seeing these names pop up everywhere. Every chapter. Yep, I'm way in the back on chapter 9, and George W. Bush, H.W. Bush, and Dick Cheney popped up. See, let's go center of the book. So what names pop up in here? David Rockefeller. Yep. George P. Schultz. Who was in this one too? George Schultz. So these names just keep popping up. Madeleine Albright. All this stuff is connected. All these people are connected. You do not get in to the most powerful positions of being an outsider. Now, one last note I want to make here is, oh yes, Mr. Wood lovingly and graciously acknowledged the fact that the heinous abuses of Hitler, Lenin, Stalin, and Mussolini are being embraced by our government. The anti-communist, anti-fascist government we have. They were embracing the very same philosophies as those guys. And Senator Barry Goldwater in 1979 wrote a book with no apologies. That was a warning about the Trilateral Commission. Do you think anybody listened to him? Nope. Do you think anybody listened to President Dwight Eisenhower when he warned about the military complex? Nope. Crickets. Deaf. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. What can you do? You know? There have been many, many men in powerful positions. JFK even tried to warn us about weather, climate control, and all that stuff. But did we listen? Nope. Now, I want to address something on a personal note. I keep seeing memes and posts where Trump is the most hated president in history. No, he's not. That is a ruse to keep people arguing, keep them bickering. Don't you think if the government, because I've never believed anybody outside of the government killed Kennedy, ever, I never believed it and I never will. Don't you think if they could orchestrate something that detail-oriented for Kennedy, if they could do it again? Remember, 1980, 80, or 81, Reagan was shocked. Security had been beefed up greatly since JFK. That was 10 years later. 10 or 11 years later since that happened. But don't you think they would make an opportunity for someone to shoot him? Yeah, I get you can hate him and not kill him. But when people start talking about a president being hated from within the government, if they really are that hate, they're not going to last long. First of all, they're not going to get past the general election. They're going to be lucky if they get on the debate stage. So please, don't buy this nonsense of him being hated, because it's not true. I will see you guys tomorrow.